Hi. Did anyone have any trouble logging in?
No.
No, no problem.
Okay, Darren's having trouble and that it won't let him log in as him.
I've logged in as Todd.
You logged in as Todd?
Yeah.
I didn't even send it to Todd.
No, I think we both use this.
Oh, okay.
How do I change his name? Or do you have to change it? I can be Todd.
I think that that's your computer setting.
Okay.
Because I'm sending it to Vic.
Okay. I'll figure it out later. There were two, is he using the old one or the new one that you sent today?
Okay, say that again.
There were two ways to get on. You sent a new one today or yesterday? Is he using the old one?
Yeah.
That could be the problem.
Oh, okay, I'll go tell Darren that.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Vicky.
You're good?
Yep, no complaints.
Okay.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, I had a session today with Shane, the IT director, trying to figure out why my webcam for my computer is having audio issues. Last week during the planning commission meeting, it went crazy. So I was just I'm using the city iPad tonight just to make it work more easily.
Yeah, looks and sounds okay.
Yeah, good.
Darren.
Cat's rolling around on the floor, so I think she wants to be able.
Ed. Shannon. Vicky. And Ted.
Gary, was that the lost cat?
Oh.
That was the lost cat, yes. It was an infamous night.
So can I ask who is the city council, is it Councilor Relier or Councilor Baumgartner? Who's the liaison? Or do they both come?
I'll look real quick, Lynn. It lists both Councilor Relier and Baumgartner.
Yeah, so I sent, I just sent Councilor Baumgartner invitation.
Okay.
And I also sent an invitation, a reminder invitation to Lysandra Matthews. see. Trouble.
And I apologize for finishing my dinner on camera. Just having a few nuts for dessert, so. If it bothers anybody, I'll turn my camera off. Just let me know.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
I'm on, but I'm afraid I'm on twice. Can anybody tell
And I
me?
also sent an invitation, a reminder invitation to Lysandra Matthews.
Mary, I only see one of you.
Yeah, you're good, Mary.
I only see one.
So Lynn, have you gotten any feedback from anybody, any of the members, whether they're not going to make it or?
I have not. I was just gonna ask the same. I have sent reminder emails to Lysandra, Dan Tedrow, Shannon Knight, and Councillor Relier.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll need a fourth person to do the election of the chair and vice chair in the meeting notes. So might want to give them a few more minutes to see if someone pops on.
So Betty, have you been able to settle in from your move?
Yeah, kind of. It's just been pretty hectic.
So have you been up here just a few weeks then, or?
I moved in the weekend before I started here, so the weekend before April 12th. Oh no. It looks like my video's super laggy.
Well, Chair Novotny, leave it up to the group, but maybe skip over some of the early agenda items and circle back to them if we get a fourth person that can help make decisions, and then just get on with the House Bill 2001, 2003 discussion.
Yeah,
Or
let's do that. Well, we can call the meeting to order. It's 5:40. We only have 3 of our members, so we don't have a quorum for official business, or at least voting business. So we'll jump down the agenda down to item 7, which is discussion of HB 2001 and 2003. And I'll pass it on to Darren to talk about the public engagement phase.
Okay, thanks. Let's see. Yeah, so Darren Wise, planning manager with the city. So thanks for having me. Betty Avila is with us also, and she'll be helping with House Bill 2001 and 2003. Moving forward, happy to have her on board. So the purpose of being here tonight, so we worked with the CCI end of last summer and into the fall on getting the Citizen Advisory Committee, Project Advisory Committee appointed, went through the CCI to council. That was for the phase 1 of the project. So phase 1 is actually wrapping up. It will be done with phase 1 in mid-June. Again, that was funded by grant funds from Department of Land Conservation and Development. Consultants are helping us with 2 different consultant teams helping with House Bill 2001 and House Bill 2003. The outcome of phase 1 will be for House Bill 2001. They will outline the bare minimum code amendments that will be required for the city to meet the rules of House Bill 2001. And then they will also outline some policy options the city will have to discuss with the community, and then ultimately city council making some policy decisions on whether we want to do the bare minimum, which you've heard me say before, de minimis, or move further toward de maximis and doing more than we're required to do. House Bill 2003, the outcome of phase 1 will be the adoption-ready housing needs analysis. So that was a technical document that's put together. There's some rules in place through state statute, administrative rules on how that's done, and included in that housing needs analysis would be a series of recommendations on different actions the city can take to encourage the development of the needed housing, including some policies, programs that the city can implement in the future. So again, we'll be out of phase 1 here in mid-June. Then phase 2 is where it's really the community conversations surrounding some of those policy choices and program choices. So we've requested some funding in the budget to hire some consultants to help facilitate the meetings through the budget cycle, and depending on how much is allocated to us, be the amount of effort that we get from a consultant. But House Bill 2001, we're really focused on those policy options. So as I said, the consultant team in phase 1 will give us the bare minimum that we need to do to comply, and then they will give us those policy options, and that will be the focus of the phase 2 is reaching out to the community and some citizen advisory groups, and of course city council, and landing on how far the city wants to go, and promoting the development of the middle housing, as it's called in House Bill 2001. And then House Bill 2003 will focus on some of those policy questions again, including potential rezoning of some properties. So we're deficient in multifamily housing land in the city. So that'll be some discussions about how to accommodate the needed multifamily housing into the future. And then it'll be also some community conversations around support for programs or policies to increase needed or affordable housing in the community. So again, some housing options, and again, it's been identified that we have a need for additional multifamily housing availability into the future. So that's just a brief overview of sort of the process we're going to go through. So the committee last September, I believe it was, actually briefly discussed some different options that the city could pursue in engaging the community in that second phase of House Bill 2001 and 2003 work. So I included that in the memo. The CCI pretty much broke it down into 3 different categories. One was creating the messaging first, which as staff, we completely agree with that, and it's a point well taken. So yeah, get the messaging in order first before you actually go out to engage the community. Then the second was utilizing a variety of outreach options, social media, website, press releases, and tidings articles, using a weekly newsletter, next door, such things. And then 3, then actually having outreach events. So some of the recommendations were, of course, open houses. And at this point, whether they would be virtual or in person is still up in the air. An education night, and then neighborhood association meetings. So based on those recommendations, staff has put together a very preliminary engagement scope and schedule, which again is in the memo that was sent to you. So what we're looking for tonight is feedback from the CCI on that preliminary scope and schedule. Based on your feedback, then we will develop a robust community engagement plan. Betty and myself will work on that and return to the CCI in May, and then again in June to refine that engagement plan. And then hopefully by the end of the meeting in June, we can have the CCI recommend that's the plan that we follow moving forward. Sort of get your blessing on it. And so if you look at the memo, we've pretty much broken it down into about 5 different phases. The first being developing the materials. So as the CCI recommended last September, sort of getting the house in order before we go out to the community. Then second phase is starting to schedule the events and ramping up to really do the outreach. Third phase, the robust community outreach portion of it, which would run September to December roughly. And then at the end of that, then we would come with the sort of the final recommendation on the code amendment package, and go through a final community review. And then the 5th and last phase would be the adoption process, where it goes to the Planning Commission for recommendation to council for adoption. So that's just a very quick overview. But again, what we're looking for is feedback on those 5 phases that we've outlined in the memo there. And again, there's not a lot of detailed information in there. That's what we will sort of flush out over the next month and bring it back to the CCI in May based on your feedback here tonight. So with that, I will step back and take any questions or comments or suggestions.
So Darren, tonight you're just asking us to kind of look over this proposed timeline and provide any input on that, because I know the materials aren't ready for review yet or anything, right? That's still to come based on this timeline. So you're just kind of wanting us to give our input on the timeline that you proposed?
Yes, that's correct. Or if there's anything glaring that we've missed, any kind of outreach option or feedback mechanism that we've missed in this preliminary, just this very preliminary scope and schedule. Again, we tried to base it on the what the CCI discussed in September, and then of course then some of the other outreach techniques that we've used in the past. But yeah, really looking to see if if there's anything glaring that we've missed, or the timeline, if you think the timeline is acceptable.
Yeah, well, I know there is the deadline of June of 22, right, to get it all wrapped up. Is that for both of the House bills, or were there different timelines for the different bills?
Yeah, so that's House Bill 2001 is the one that's the one that we really have to get moving on. So we have to have code amendments adopted by June 30th of 2022, or the model code goes into effect. So that's the more critical one. The House Bill 2003, the housing needs analysis, we could adopt that straight away, and then still work on the policies and programs that we would want to enact to try to meet the demand for needed housing in the future.
Okay. Well, I did look at your memo, and I think you've covered everything I can recall from our previous discussions on this topic as far as the methods and of outreach that we came up with. As best I can recall, I don't see anything missing at all. I think you've done a good job of summarizing all the different ways that we came up with to reach out to our city and inform them of what's going on. So that's about all I have to say right now, I think. So
Thanks, Ed. Vicky?
Well, I have kind of an observation or concern. I sit in those meetings with House Bill 2001 and 2003, so I've been attending those. And Darren, when you're making that, developing that, the words to describe what's going on, can you make it very clear that this is not a choice, so it's not an option, that it is law, and that it's something that we need to decide on? When I go out and I talk to my neighbors about this, the first thing they want to do is they don't want to do it. And then I have to tell them, well, the law, it's a law, it passed. And so there is no option not to do it. So just to make sure that it's very clear.
Yes, thanks for that point. I think that's important to note that the CCI recognized that in September, right? And I think that's where phase one comes into play, where we're going to have to do a really good job of getting the outreach materials in order. And again, let's see, that's the July, August, so that's really phase two. I've worked in there that we'll come to the CCI and get your, have you help us craft some of the language. As as planners and being heavily involved in it, sometimes we can get lost in the technical jargon and such things, and something makes perfect sense to us that might not make sense to just a person that's not necessarily up to speed on what exactly House Bill 2001 and 2003 is. So yeah, point well taken, Vicky. And yeah, we will definitely want to run materials through the CCI to help us get that language crafted. So it's the message is received appropriately.
Thanks, Vicky. Is there anything else from those meetings that you think we should know about?
They're very interesting. I think at the beginning we had a huge group of people, and it's kind of dwindled. I think but there's still a very good core that come to these meetings. It's, I think the group has finally understood that it is something that needs to be done. And a big concern of the middle housing is the quality of the housing. So they don't want to associate affordability with low quality middle housing. So they want good quality and affordability. So I don't know.
Well, I think my understanding is that it's about, I mean, HB 2003 is about needed housing, which doesn't necessarily equate with affordable housing. And I've had multiple conversations with Darren and other people, and I won't go down that rabbit hole too far. But the point being that to this House Bill 2001 doesn't go down the route of providing affordable housing by at least under federal laws that make it, that support it and subsidize affordable housing. So this is, I mean, I think you're right. I think this is providing maybe quality housing, but it's not, I mean, in our real estate market, I don't see how it's going to be affordable. So anyway, I'm just curious to know about that. So in terms of, and maybe Darren, you can answer this too. So in terms of people that the members of the committee or task force that's looking at HB 2001 and 3, are we still getting a fair number of community folks, or is it? I'm just trying to figure out which people. I mean, because there are a number of people from the construction industry and housing that aren't necessarily from West Linn. So where are we losing people in attendance?
Yeah, so you can find the meeting notes on the planning page that identifies who was there. But yeah, the West Linn community folks that were appointed are pretty consistently attending.
Okay.
Some of the other like affordable housing providers and such things, you know, they obviously they have other meetings to attend to and things, so they're not always going to make every one. But yeah, it's been well attended by the folks either from the community or the citizen advisory groups or the ones that are appointed at large. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. And I like the schedule that you laid out here. I really don't have any suggestions. I mean, I at least from the planning commission perspective, you know, and with the briefings starting in October, and we've had briefings before, so I think that and the work sessions next winter, that's probably pretty good timing, reasonable timing to move into the spring. Hi, Ed.
So I did actually have one comment for I noticed the September, December timeframe, you're planning to visit all 11 neighborhood associations, which is great. I just wanted to remind you that some neighborhood associations, like Savannah Oaks, only meet every other month. So it would be great to make sure that we get on those as early as possible so that everybody has time to digest the comments there. And then I guess I also had a question regarding the January-March timeframe. You're going to meet with the neighborhood association presidents group. What's the purpose of that meeting? Just to kind of summarize the input that has been received at that point, or?
Yeah, that's correct. So we, you know, yeah, first of all, point well taken on getting the neighborhood association meeting scheduled well in advance. And so that would be part of the sort of the July, August, is to identify how often they meet and then get on one of the agendas. Yeah, then the point of the neighborhood association presidents meeting would then be summarize all that we've heard and then disseminate to the neighborhood association presidents the package of what's going to be pushed forward, and then have the president report back to the neighborhoods instead of us going back through another cycle.
Another cycle,
Yeah.
right? Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Ed, thanks for bringing that up, because I think that's probably really important to have. And I mean, it's at the top of the bullet list for January to March. So I'm assuming that that's, Darren, that's the order in which those meetings would occur in next winter.
Yeah, I haven't necessarily laid it out in the order, but yeah, we would try to get to the neighborhood association presidents before we started work sessions with planning commission and council and have the open houses.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, and there's nothing to say that we couldn't report to the neighborhood association presidents some other time, Ed, if you invited us. Like, I'm going to be there in May, I believe. So, and yeah, so I can give updates whenever is necessary.
Okay. And again, NAP only meets every other month, so January would probably be a good time to try and get together with NAP instead of waiting until March. So
Yeah, right. Well, we'll have to schedule that one well in advance then.
we will. Okay, great.
And I think that hopefully by that point in time, we're actually having in-person planning commission council meetings, because I mean, as well as we've done with using WebEx for meetings, I think for something as important as this, we would benefit greatly by having in-person conversations with the community. So I'm hopeful that we're that far down the road at that point to do that. So, and I see Shannon is
Trying.
trying to come in. She's on the beach.
I'm here, but my phone, I have to be on my phone because my speaker on my computer sucks. And it just keeps going to sleep. And so I lose everything. I don't know how to make it stop going to sleep.
Yeah, so that's a good point also, Gary. Is that's sort of the wild card as to at what point we'll be able to do in-person meetings. Yeah, projects like this, it's a lot easier to have a face-to-face conversation with someone about code changes and policy options as opposed to trying to do it virtually. So yeah, again, that's a wild card. We're gonna have to sort of plan for either option, but yeah, hopefully in person will be a viable option for us come September, October.
So Shannon, just to bring you up to speed real quick here, Darren just went through the letter, the memo on phase 2 of public engagement for HB 2001 and 2003, and there's basically a draft schedule in there for developing education materials and then meeting with the community and presenting those, and then moving on to later moving on to planning commission and city council. Anyway, those public forums for the community to come together as well. So it wasn't, if you have any comments, this is perfect time for that. We didn't have a forum to do things earlier on in the agenda, so we skipped forward to the things that we could do without having 4 people. So you're our 4th.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was at 6 for some reason. So my bad. I looked over everything before I jumped on, and it looks all good to me. So I don't have any other comments.
Well, it seems, Darren, that this is a good schedule going forward. So, Councilor Baumgartner, I don't know if you have any have any comments?
No, it looks good to me too.
Okay, great, great. Anything more, Darren?
No, I appreciate the feedback, and as I said, Betty and I will work to take this sort of rough preliminary outline and actually fill it in with details, and return to the CCI in May. Have this on the agenda again, so you can look at the more detailed sort of roughed out exactly what we'll do, and then again, then we can come back in June after additional comments, and have a final look at it with the CCI.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, so I guess that finishes item 7 on the agenda. We can probably back up toward the beginning of the agenda now that we have a quorum. Item number 2 was welcoming a new member, Lysandra Matthews, to CCI, but she hasn't been able to dial in or isn't attending this evening. So
That's correct. She did not make it this evening, so we can push that to May also.
Okay, great. The next item is welcoming our new staff member, Betty Avila. And so thank you for making it online. You had a little trouble earlier on. So anyway, would you give us a little background? I mean, I heard things at Planning Commission last week, but
Yeah, so I'll start real quick with yeah, we're very happy to have Betty on board. We've got another planner with us, John Floyd, too. John will be working with the HRB, but Betty will be the staff liaison to the CCI moving forward. And yeah, super happy Betty's on board. She jumped right in, helping us immensely. And with that, I'll let Betty introduce herself, and then you can ask her all kinds of tough questions if you wish.
Oh no. Yeah, so my name's Betty. I got my undergrad in biology and got my master's in community planning after that. And then I worked for this small town called Danville, California. And after that, then I worked for the city of Sunnyvale in Silicon Valley. And now I'm here. So that's my planning background.
Well, welcome, Betty. I lived in Danville for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So
That's crazy.
just before moving up here back in 2002. So I was there from 87 to 2002. Yeah. So
Wow. So you must know some of the, my old boss.
the old guard, perhaps. We were involved in some planning stuff down there as well. So
Yeah, you probably know Kevin Gailey and David Crompton.
yeah, Crompton,
Yes.
certainly. Yeah. So
David Crompton was my boss.
okay. Well, small world, as they say. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
well, welcome, Betty. Thanks for joining us. I know that Darren and Chris were pretty well strapped for time for several months, and in large part that and the fact that we didn't have enough really to pull an agenda together for CCI. We haven't met since November, I guess. So so anyway, now we can move forward with some further intention. So as far as I know, we don't have any public comments this evening. No one has dialed in. I haven't heard anything from Lynn.
That is correct. I don't see anybody on.
Okay. Okay, so next is election of chair and vice chair. So typically, first meeting of the year for advisory groups, we elect officers. And I'm more than willing to pass this on to another member of CCI because I've been doing it for 3 years, and I'm chairing Planning Commission. So if someone else is interested, otherwise we may just have to nominate people blindly. So I'll leave it at that. And Vicky, I see you're not muted. So do you,
I'm just gonna sit here quietly.
okay.
I would entertain being vice chair, but not chair.
That's good. That's good to know.
And but if someone wants to do vice chair, I will more than happy step aside.
So, Shannon and Ed.
I nominate Ed.
Thank you, Shannon, but no, I was going to ask if Shannon had interest in doing it because I'm already the, chair of NAP and president of SONA, and I'm on the budget committee, and I've got enough going on right now. So Shannon, I don't know, do you have interest in being chair? I would certainly support that.
I mean, I'll do it. I don't really want to do it. I just got myself rid of being chair on EDC.
So that means you have,
So I was hoping to take a break, but I will do it if nobody wants to do it.
and I think fortunately CCI is a little, well, at least at this point, it's less strenuous than it was a few years ago. Although I guess it could pick up starting this summer. So
You should definitely nominate the new person who's not here.
Right. And I would,
Just kidding. Surprise!
in addition to Shannon as chair, I would also nominate Vicky as vice chair as well.
well, and I will second both of those nominations. So so with that, we can we can vote on those motions separately. Darren, would you call roll for nominating Shannon as chair of CCI?
Yes. All right, Mr. Swartz,
Aye.
Ms. Olson,
Aye.
and Ms. Knight.
I am abstaining. I don't want to vote for myself.
Okay. All right, and then Mr. Watney.
I will say aye.
All
Yes.
right, so that makes Shannon the chair.
Yay.
3 affirmatives, no negatives, and 1 abstention. So I guess, Darren, would you call the roll for nominating Vicky for vice chair?
All right, Mr. Swartz.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Knight,
Aye.
Ms. Olson.
Aye.
All right, and Mr. Watney.
Aye. So the ayes have it, 4 to 0. And now I will step out of this and pass along the agenda to Shannon.
Now I gotta find where the agenda is. Let's see.
I can share my screen too, Shannon, if you want me to.
I found it.
Okay, excellent.
So where are we at? Because you already did the discussion, right? So all we have is item of interest, right?
We're
The meeting notes.
number 6.
Oh, we need approval of meeting notes. Okay. All right. So does anyone want to make a motion to approve? Anyone have any issues with the notes?
Yeah, I had just a couple of very minor suggestions. For the August notes I'm okay with them. For the September notes, at the very end, item number 6, under member comments, the last word, council, is misspelled. We could correct that. Then on the October notes, on item number 4, on the second to the last sentence, we talk about phase 2 will need a larger community engagement plan, which is targeted to begin in 2021, June 2021. It says target, but I think we need to make that targeted. And then the last one for the November notes, item number 3, the last paragraph, we talked about Shannon moved to recommend the PAC that was previously recommended at the October 27th, 21 CCI meeting. I think this should have been 27th of 20, since these notes were from November of 20.
Also, my name is misspelled, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, it should be EN. You're right. Sorry. And that was it. As far as substance, I think they did a good job. Just a couple of minor things.
So I agree with those edits. And I just had one comment as well. The September notes say that we already approved the August meeting notes. So so really we only need to approve September, October, November.
Okay, does someone want to move to approve September, October, November?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting notes for September, October, and November 2020, acknowledging the edits that Ed pointed out.
I'll second that.
Right, moved and seconded, so to approve the notes with the changes, and I guess call the roll.
Right. Mr. Swartz,
Aye.
Mr. Wobotny,
Aye.
Ms. Olson,
Aye.
Chair Knight.
Aye. Motion
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, and so items of interest. Does anybody have any items of interest?
I'll just bring up one item. So Charlie Matthews is vice chair of Planning Commission, and I met with the mayor last week just because we haven't had a check-in with her since well, I haven't talked to her since after the election because there have been so many things going on with the city. And so I mentioned the CCI report from July 2018, which goes to the land use planning process, and just hoping that gains gets some review and consideration by council, because a lot of work went into that. I mean, we were meeting twice a month for about a year and a half. And so there was a ton of work that went into it. And I think 4 counselors at that time participated in the process as well. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that back to everyone's attention.
Do we need to put that on the agenda for another meeting to have more of a follow-up? Or what do we do with this? Because it is a big report. I have a copy of it.
Yeah, it is presently on the planning docket. But that as an agenda item, that might be worthwhile in the future. And then depending on, where it's at, it may even be worthwhile for the chair to write a letter to council.
Okay. So just, I guess, Darren, if you want to put a note to put that on the future agenda. I think what I've seen so far from this new council, just in my other meetings and the other meetings I've been listening to, is it kind of sounds like this, and Mary, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sounds like this council, instead of setting goals for the CAGs, would like us as CAGs to come to them with what, we want to see happen. So I think that, if we put it on our agenda, then we can take it to council and try to make some action on it.
That sounds like a good idea.
All right, anybody else have any items of interest? All right, so with that, I think, oh, Darren, do you have anything?
No, I do not have anything off the top of my head right now. We really are gonna, immerse ourselves into this House Bill 2001, 2003 public engagement plan. It's the biggest public engagement effort we'll have currently. Depending again on funding for the waterfront project, we might come back through the CCI with an updated community engagement plan for the waterfront project also. So that might be something that we roll through the CCI in the summer, again, depending on how much funding we get through the budget cycle.
And Betty, I know you're new, but do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything. Thanks for asking, Shannon.
Okay. All right. So with that, we can adjourn at 6:22. Sorry I was all late, you guys.